This is the true story of Albert Einstein, a man whose ideas changed the way we see the universe. He was not born a genius. In fact, he was a quiet, curious boy who spoke very little and was often misunderstood. But through patience, imagination, and hard work, he became one of the most famous scientists in history. Let's explore his life step by step and learn English through his inspiring journey. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in Ulm, a small town in Germany. His parents were Hermann and Pauline Einstein. They were kind, hard-working people. Albert was not like other children. He spoke slowly and didn't talk until he was almost 4 years old. Some people thought he was strange, but his mother believed in him. When Albert was 5, his father showed him a small compass. The tiny needle moved even when no one touched it. Albert was amazed. He asked, "Why does it move?" That simple question was the beginning of his lifelong curiosity about the mysteries of nature. Albert went to school in Munich. He loved math and science, but didn't like the strict rules of the German education system. His teachers wanted students to memorize everything, but Albert wanted to understand why. One teacher even told him, "You will never amount to anything." That hurt, but Albert didn't give up. At home, he read books about physics and mathematics far ahead of his school level. When his family moved to Italy, Albert stayed behind for a while to finish school. But he felt unhappy and left to join them in Milan. He was searching for a place where he could think freely. Albert decided to continue his studies in Switzerland, where schools were more open-minded. He entered the Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich in 1896. There, he studied physics and mathematics, but he also read philosophy and listened to music. He played the violin beautifully. Music helped him think clearly. During this time, he fell in love with a fellow student, Mileva Maric, who also studied physics. They discussed science for hours. Albert dreamed of becoming a university professor. But when he graduated, he could not find a job as a teacher. So he worked in the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. Working as a patent clerk might sound boring, but for Albert, it was the perfect job. He had plenty of time to think about his ideas. Every day, he read about inventions and machines, which helped him understand how things worked. In his free time, he wrote scientific papers. In 1905, at age 26, he published 4 revolutionary papers that changed the world. Scientists call this his miracle year. One paper introduced the theory of special relativity, showing that time and space are connected. Another explained the photoelectric effect, which later earned him the Nobel Prize. In 1 year, a quiet patent clerk became a world-famous scientist. One of Einstein's most famous discoveries is the equation E equals mc squared. It means that energy, E, and mass, m, are connected by the speed of light, c. In simple words, it shows that even a small amount of matter can produce a huge amount of energy. This idea became the foundation for nuclear energy, both for good and for destruction. Einstein never wanted his theories to be used for war, but he understood the power of science. He often said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge." Einstein became very famous. He received invitations from universities all over the world. In 1919, after scientists confirmed his theory of relativity during a solar eclipse, newspapers called him a genius. He traveled to many countries, met kings and presidents, and gave lectures everywhere. But fame brought problems too. Some people criticized his ideas because they didn't understand them. He was also a Jew living in Germany during difficult times. When Adolf Hitler came to power, Einstein realized he could no longer stay in his homeland. In 1933, Einstein moved to the United States. He accepted a position at Princeton University in New Jersey. There, he continued his research and became an American citizen. He never returned to Germany. During World War II, he was deeply worried about the rise of Nazi power. Although he was a pacifist, he signed a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt warning that Germany might build a powerful atomic bomb. This letter led to the start of the Manhattan Project, though Einstein himself never worked on the bomb. He later said he regretted signing that letter. After the war, Einstein became a strong voice for peace. He spoke against nuclear weapons and called for global cooperation. He believed that education and compassion were the keys to a better world. Einstein also supported civil rights in America and was a friend of African American leader W.E.B. Du Bois. He once said, "The world will not be destroyed by those who do evil, but by those who watch them without doing anything." He lived simply, often wearing old clothes and sandals, and cared more about ideas than appearances. Einstein continued working until the end of his life. He tried to find a unified field theory that could explain all forces of nature together, but he never succeeded. Even so, his curiosity never faded. He loved to walk, play the violin, and talk with students. In 1955, at the age of 76, Albert Einstein passed away peacefully in Princeton. His brain was preserved for study, but his body was cremated, and his ashes were scattered. He once said, "I want to go when I want. It is tasteless to prolong life artificially." Albert Einstein left behind more than scientific theories. He left a way of thinking. He taught us to question, to imagine, and to never stop learning. His work laid the foundation for modern physics, space exploration, and technology. But more importantly, his life reminds us that success comes from curiosity, not from being perfect. Einstein said, "Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid." Today, his name stands for intelligence, creativity, and kindness. Albert Einstein truly changed the world, not just with his mind, but with his heart. Einstein's story is more than a biography. It's a lesson in life. It teaches us that even a quiet child who speaks late can grow up to change the universe. Through patience, imagination, and courage, we can all discover our own kind of genius. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the story, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us create more inspiring stories every week.